Now, in the middle of all this, the White House is calling for the creation of a new government agency to study global warming. Dan Weiss with the Center for American Progress says it is needed. Dan, good to see you again. I have to start with 3 points, 3 quick points. Global warming is a losing issue, and here's why. Number one, there are 2 more factual errors that have been discovered in the UN climate report. Number 2, the chairman of that climate committee, he's saying his critics should have asbestos rubbed in their faces. Number 3, we're in the middle of a huge snowstorm up and down the eastern seaboard, and you're going to create a government agency to study global warming. It's a losing issue. The taxpayers won't stand for it.
Good to talk to you too, Stuart. Let's start at the beginning. First of all, we all want a government that's more cost-effective, more transparent, and more accountable. By putting together the best scientists the government has to study global warming, they can do it in a way that's more cost-effective, more efficient, and more transparent.
Didn't the UN do that?
Second is
Didn't the UN do that?
I'm about to address that. Second is that they found a couple errors in the IPCC report that you're referring to, the UN report from 2007, and they're going to correct them. We need to make sure that our science is best and accurate as it can be.
It's not just a couple of errors. It destroys the credibility of the entire report. The Himalayan glaciers are not melting as they said they were. Crop yields in Africa will not fall by a half in 10 years. Holland does not have 50% of its land area under sea level. I mean, the holes are so big, it has destroyed the credibility of the premise of the entire report.
Well, all I know is that the U.S. Global Climate Research Program, started under President Bush, has predicted for the Northeast much more heavy precipitation and heavier snowfall, and not to say that this is being caused by global warming, but that's exactly what we're seeing right now.
Okay, so we get the government agency to study global warming. We get it. We get it. We get it in. Okay, we pay for it. The taxpayers pay for this government agency. Odds are it's going to recommend some kind of action that will raise my taxes or raise the cost of energy. Odds are pretty strong, right?
Well, first of all, it's a scientific agency. It's not going to be making recommendations about policy. What it's going to do is bring together the best scientists the government has and the best data so everybody can see it, so it's more transparent and it's more efficient. That way, if you're a businessman and you're thinking about, say, perhaps building a coastal development, you can go to one place, one-stop shopping for your climate information to find out if the area where you're planning on building is going to be underwater in 20 years. Now, what's wrong with that? Why would we not want to have better and more information?
A lot of people do not trust the environmental movement to come up with an objective study on which policy recommendations will be made. You've lost the trust. This very bad publicity about global warming, you have lost the trust of the American people and voters.
Well, all I have to say is that the scientists who are going to be working at this agency are going to be providing the best science to American government and the American people and American businesses so we can make smart investment decisions.
I think
Why build a new hotel in a place where it's going to be underwater in 20 years?
You know you're retreating, don't you? You know it. You know that public opinion has really turned against you. I think you know it.
Well, actually, Stuart, you're exactly wrong about that. In fact, there was just a poll 2 weeks ago by Frank Luntz who found that even McCain voters strongly support action on global warming. And Frank Luntz, as you know, was the architect of the contract with America that put nuclear
Last time I checked, global warming was number 21 on a list of 21 concerns of the American voter. That's the last time I checked. Dan Weiss, always a pleasure. Good to see you again. Come back soon.
Thanks, Stuart.